This video contains strong language of a strong sexual nature, and discusses topics such as violence, cannibalism, and racism. I deem this video unacceptable for anybody under the age of 15. Also, I apologise for sounding more dreary than normal because I was isolating when I recorded this and I had COVID. You know, sometimes I catch myself thinking, what would my life be like if I never did this? What would happen if I never came across Ethan's Worst Songs of 2016 video on that fateful night of December that year and rather arrogantly thought I could do it just as well as him and started this channel? Makes you think, you know, whenever you fall into a hobby that takes up a lot of time, what would you be doing instead if you never found that hobby? Would your life pan out as it did? Would you hang out with the same people? Would you even have had the same beliefs that you do? Or would you be someone else entirely? That's something I think about every now and again, and sometimes I think about what my mindset must have been like when I started this, but as time goes on, it's less easy to remember the fine details unless if something comes up that gives like a wave of nostalgia, like maybe you'd hear a song again, or there'd be an act that had a hit at the time and then they disappeared and maybe they had some sort of a comeback.
Didn't know I had you in my heart. You didn't know I had you in my...
Oh my god. He's back! The legend is back. Good friend of the show, Tom Zanetti. Oh my bloody god, it's been a long time. If you're lucky enough to have not seen my Worst Songs of 2017 video, this man had a small hit that peaked right at the start of the year called You Want Me. He's a rapper slash producer from Leeds who seems to be leading this trend of white kids rapping on house beats. Now you'd think that a guy like this would be really popular with like the Love Island crowd and widely hated by everybody else. But it seems to be that there's just not a lot of talk about him at all. The You Want Me comment section has ripped him to shreds, but that's the only time I've seen him get anything that negative. And I think in reality that might be because he's actually a pretty alright guy. Doesn't seem to be any embarrassing stories as you might expect, and in interviews he's quite humbling honestly. But when it comes to his music, he couldn't be less so. Every song he's ever made has the most repellent vibe and overly cocky, self-serving attitude that only the fuckiest of fuckboys could have. He's a humanoid Lynx Africa body spray can whose raps are either cringe, dumb, or both.
Come to the hotel, I got a few ideas I could use her. She don't wanna run around in a black car, she wanna get picked up in an Uber.
That's the song's hook. So, the important question, is Didn't Know worse than You Want Me? No. The songs are similar in many ways, a sparse, weak bassline instrumental, an annoying woman singing in the chorus, strangely dark. The beats Didn't Know isn't as grounded and is a bit more jittery and annoying, but at least he doesn't sound like a constipated turkey.
Okay then, watch what I say then. If it like champagne, swing my way then. All the garden,
It's also not a brag song, but a love song, which I guess makes it more bearable. However, what really sticks out about this song in particular are the shockingly weak rhymes, which make Tom sound pretty untalented.
imagination ripping at the sheets, and I can feel them vibes when she's on me. Wanting the real thing is getting deeper.
It's annoying because it's so jarring that it's impossible to ignore. Worst example is with the last few lines of the entire song.
All over the world, she arched that back, I make her toes curl. Better than all of the girls. This sweetheart, she got my heart, yeah.
It's just one of the most puzzling things I've heard this year. Completely redundant, dumb lyric. Doesn't rhyme, it's awkward as heck. Also, you know how I mentioned this was a love song? Well, as a true fuckboy, Zanetti mostly talks about the sex, and it's hilarious. Something about his tone, but occasionally he'll hit you with something so stupid it's hard not to laugh.
She from South and I come from Leeds. I wanna beat it like Michael. Open doors and give her Michael. Kiss her in the card and we had it in the phone box. Oh, look, she want it hard and I won't flop.
Thanks for letting us know, mate. I was concerned there. I was concerned that your penis will not stay hard whilst you're having sex, so thank you very much for letting me know that it's not going to flop. But you know, it's nice to have a hit song this year that's bad just because it's bad. No long tired conversations on the culture or society or whatever the fuck. It's just a bad song. It's not a hot take, it's not an unpopular opinion. Which is not the case for the next song.
I wanna be a slave, I wanna be a master. I wanna make your heart beat round.
Remember not even a year ago when I said it would take 5 years for rock to be big again? I think trends change a lot more than I anticipated back then. Of course, I know a lot of people who are happy that rock music is having a lot of commercial success right now, and I agree, that is pretty cool. Probably the biggest story in relation to the new trend is the rise of the Italian rock band Maneskin, who have become far and away the biggest act of the century to come from Eurovision, a song contest with good intentions that always ends up getting ruined by shitty politics that have nothing to do with the show. Normally I'd avoid watching it, but since we're in a pandemic, any potential celebration of anything is greeted with a strong yes. I was too drunk to remember if any of the other performances deserved to win over Maneskin, and their song Zitti e Buoni is a perfectly good song, but weirdly, it's not the one that I'm talking about. Instead, I'm talking about their considerably worse track, which is on their album that they released this year, I Wanna Be Your Slave, which is the worst straight rock song I've heard chart in a very long time.
Wanna touch your body so fucking electric. I know you're scared of me, you say that I'm
The entire song is built around just the worst melody. I know rock isn't always the most complex genre, but this is ridiculous. It just repeats over and over again. In the vocals, it's in the guitar, it's in the bass guitar, it's the same shit, doing the exact same thing for a vast majority of the track.
because I'm the devil who's searching for redemption and I
This is a tired and lame listening experience, but there are two lots of bars where there's a bit of release and it turns Led Zeppelin-y for a bit, and it is pretty enjoyable.
redemption.
And okay, it is a bit like someone sticking their testicles in your face, but I'll take it, considering the other 2.5 minutes of the fucking song.
I wanna be a slave, I wanna be a master. I wanna
The only thing that makes Mannequin stand out is their image and their lead singer, who can at times veer almost to Caleb Followell levels of insufferable. Oh god, how about those lyrics? This is a sex song in the vein of Closer by the 9 Inch Nails, where the content isn't trying to be hot, but more obsessive and dependent. It doesn't work because the musical tone is off and it doesn't sound dark or anything, and the lyrics themselves are just such basic garbage considering that he's just listing shit. I wanna be your slave, I wanna be your master, I wanna be a good boy, a gangster, beauty. You could be the beauty and I could be the monster, yeah, Beauty and the Monster, that classic. And the thing that really stands out to me is the chorus. So where he goes from saying that he wants shit to saying that he is shit. So he's like, I'm the devil, I'm a killer, I'm a motherfucking monster, I'm a bad guy, I'm a blonde girl. Why is that line there? It just completely sticks out. Is that like a blonde girl supposed to be evil? I know the stereotypes that blonde girls are stupid, but look, I am happy that rock is back, but if all we're gonna get is this Kings of Leon style basic shit, it can happily go away again. I'd rather listen to a jingle for a cereal box advert than this, but not by much.
Looking for sun rays, needing them good days. Fly me away, away, you're my holiday.
No lie, this legit sounds like it belongs on a Cocoa Pops advert.
Whenever you're here, it's a good time. Strawberry shirts in the sunshine.
Cocoa Pops, magically delicious!
You'll see that body in the sunlight. Feeling the heat and it feels right.
This is fluff. I mean, it's currently the summer holidays. Let's try and tie in this lame love song with that in the most uninspired way. I heard Don't Play a lot on Radio 2 at the start of the year, and it sounds like that's the crowd that KSI wants to appeal to more and more. Even when Dizzy Rascal made a song of the same name, he managed to keep some of his grit. I mean, at least the song that KSI made the week of this recording brought back some of that, but this is about as flaccid as that Mimi Webb song.
'Cause I'm staring at all these photographs. I guess the good things ain't meant to last.
Would have been kinder to this, but it's without a doubt the most forgettable hit of the year. This will be as well remembered in 4 years as Rag & Bone Man's Skin is now. The songs are damn similar too, with the slow 4 chords of pop, badly mixed piano and percussion heavy beat. It's just that Good Without sounds a lot more X Factor and even more dated despite being newer. I'll give a solid, if kind of childish set of lyrics. Someone saw the time to capitalise on driver's license, but without that uncomfortable TMI aspect. Mimi is not as good a singer or presence, however.
Guess the good things ain't meant to last.
I'm not particularly keen if she's going to be Britain's Olivia Rodrigo. The song that she had before this, Reasons, was also annoying, but was still more creative than this. It's calculated and designed to be pushed onto radio stations and Spotify playlists because it's too middling for most people to object to. I will give it this though. At least its existence doesn't anger me.
I
I think I might hate this song more than several of the ones below it, and I'm keeping it this high because of the strength of the original. Spoiler for the biggest of all time ranking, but that list was my first exposure to Boney M, and I was not impressed from what I heard. But then I heard Rasputin, and I was pleasantly surprised, because even if it is quite dated and very cheesy, it's still a great song. Now, usually when a producer has their first big hit, they're nobodies, but Majestic has been around for a long time. He's been responsible for a number of viral hits over the past 10 years in the UK. He produced this.
Proper naughty sesh.
Naughty.
This.
Get hyper.
And I would have never believed that I would ever have to bring this song up to anyone in 2021, but he even produced this. As you might see though, beyond just making memes, he can produce a wide range of different dance music styles, and does have the potential to make them sound good. Which makes this remix really puzzling to me, because it's atrociously lazy. It's literally just... Okay. Okay, hello and welcome to Mode Reviewers Producers Easy Hit Song number 2. So what we've got the original Rasputin here, matched up to the BPM. Yeah, you know how that sounds. Right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to take any drum kit. I'm just going to choose the 909 one because it's pretty basic. So, I mean, I don't think Majestic used this drum kit, but it's not like choosing the drum kit for a song like this is going to be a talent, because, well, it really doesn't matter because you can't really hear the drums that much, to be honest, because of they're so compressed. If you just any old pattern, standard 1/4, black. Here's one thing. Here's what the talent is. T, two little T's there, and then you change it to then you change it from a hi-hat to a shaker. Amazing. So yeah, that's overlaid now, so that sounds like... And then what you do is you go and get your compressor and you attach that to the main audio track, and you go over to it, you expand it, press the sidechain button, and then you go to kick core. Just do the kick, I think. That's this one here. Fiddle around with the ratios to the point where it's like just quite ridiculous. And yeah, that's it. That's like, you pretty much just done the song. It's that fucking easy. It really is. So why does this remix exist then? Is it appreciation for the art? Or is it because, oh, of course it fucking is. Remember a little song from a couple months ago called Wellerman? I saw a lot of people hate on the remix because of how corporate it was, and I'm not denying that at all. It's the most industry-driven song of the year after Levitating. But I can respect that Bill and Ted and 220 Kid put quite a bit of effort in a short amount of time to make that remix. But as I just showcased to you, Rasputin's remix is just the original, but with an added drum beat and shoddy, overdone sidechain compression. Okay, so the only bit of the song that really required much effort in any way is those little frequency things, where he just decreases the frequency and makes it sound like it's like a live DJ set. Really the easiest way to do that would be to export the whole thing, but for the sake of time, you can easily replicate this using just using the software anyway. So basically you just got this, and then then you just get a drum pattern and just add like another snare hit on 3. And then obviously you get the other things like that. And then you could just get an auto filter like I've got here on the frequency, and then turn it down. And it sort of does a pattern like this where it goes up, and down, up, and down. Like, yeah, it's just that. And considering this lack of contribution, the fact they have Majestic listed first and Boney M second is arguably a little disrespectful. The only positive I have for it is the music video, which is just the perfect visual representation of this entire remix. You've got other people here who are trying really, really hard to impress and not getting anything. And then you've got Majestic here, just doing the most basic shit and getting rewarded for it. It's so perfect you'd think that it was self-aware.
Yeah, I don't think it's compressed enough. Oh, check out the bass. Oh, I love doing this.
Rasputin is not a song. It's Sony's response to Polydor's Wellerman. Find some sort of viral thing on TikTok, make a crappy remix out of it, and then shove it down everyone's throats. They had this on the Heart Radio playlist before this even broke the top 40, for fuck's sake. And I wouldn't mind this if Majestic tried it all. The radio just love that turn of the millennium new disco sound because it's accessible and repetitive enough that it won't distract you from whatever you're doing. And since 2021 might just be the least creative year for dance music of all time, why not exploit the dance music from 2 decades ago? Heck, whilst you're at it, why not exploit the EDM from 1 decade ago? And look at that, I guess Calvin Harris is back. But why? I thought he was doing that Love Regenerator project. Well, I did until he tried to have a hit with The Weeknd, literally not even 3 months after I said that. Good song, kinda happy it flopped though because of its very trend chasey sound. I don't know why he made it unless he just woke up one day and fancied a hit, so he called it The Weeknd to try and make one. I guess 2010's house is a bit trend chasey right now, but to be fair, this was Calvin's sound. The compressed white noise piano, undercooked bass, and glitchy synth lead, which is playing a stilted and annoying melody that makes it sound quite like a depressed sea lion. And on the topic of animals, Tom Grennan. Does anybody like this guy? I mean, obviously someone must if he can get 3 hits this year, but I've genuinely not met a single person online or in person who would defend this guy. And I've seen more than a few Lewis Capaldi comparisons, and I have to say, no. Yes, they're both pretty raw vocalists, but Tom's never had his vocals pushed all the way to the very front of the mix to the point where they sound disgusting. He also sings over production that matches his vocals a lot better, and more importantly, he can hold a note without braying ear-splitting vibratos like Capaldi does. I mean, do you really want me to play that clip from my year-end list again to show you how much better Tom is? So if no one defends his talents, then I will. I'd much rather he had the success that Capaldi did. I mean, I don't like either of his previous hits that much, especially the drinking one. Jesus, I'll have to get back to you on that one. But I do like his performance on this at least. He does sound a tad shaky at times, and the production has kind of dampened the personality he had, but there are moments where he sounds very sweet and likeable in the chorus.
I'll be there by your side. I'll be everything you wanted.
However, considering the drop and the lyrics that sound like something Jess Glynn would turn down for being too radio friendly, he's not able to save this from ending up a bad song. Are there any other house hits right now that try to jack their sound from the early 2010s?
This ain't a heartbreak anthem. I don't care what happened, but
Man! Remember my autumn top 20 video where I discussed the potential resurgence of producers from the mid-2010s that were lost to time? And in this top 20, we've had Tom Zanetti and Galantis. The Swedish production duo were big in 2015 and 2016. Their style was to produce that big 2010s Swedish house sound that had already gotten old a couple years beforehand, but they stood out by using incredibly obnoxious altered vocals.
you might knock me down, you might knock me down, but I
Yeah, never a fan. But I did recognise that was pretty much all they had to be distinct, because they thankfully dropped those vocals on Heartbreak Anthem and replaced them with performances from my favourite band of all time, Little Mix, and the song ends up just being very, very bland.
dwell on it. This ain't a heartbreak anthem. This ain't,
At least Calvin's Throwback was a throwback to a distinct sound, but this could have been produced by anyone.
this ain't a heartbreak anthem. I don't care what happened.
I'll give it that I think Perry is a good singer, and her chorus is the only memorable and enjoyable part of the song. It's cutting, but not too invasive. She's definitely come a long way since Move. But like I said before, the other two members, Jade and Leanne, just aren't engaging singers, and the focus just goes when they sing on the song. I am surprised that it's become as big as it is, but just because it's popular, that doesn't mean it's good. Speaking of which,
when I'm still up on the roads, could have left. Still chatting to my bros on the tech. Fuck that, man, I don't give a F.
in some ways I'm proud for Russ Millions. After Keisha and Becky, the fame went to his head and he started beefing with a load of other rappers and ended up embarrassing himself in front of everyone. His career should have been dead, so the fact that he was able to get his first ever UK drill #1 is genuinely impressive. But the song itself is just not. Russ is not a well-respected artist in the community, specifically because of his garbage lyricism. The fucking chorus. I mean, look, I know it's party rap and, you know, you're not supposed to think much of it, but even with that in mind, it's still the worst chorus of the year.
English girl named Fiona.
Big bad gal named Abiola.
Body yoddy shaped like cola.
Back up, bring it to the owner.
Like, if you're the kind of person who thinks all UK drill sounds the same, that might be because you're listening to instrumentals produced by Gotcha, the least creative and most uninteresting big-name drill producer. Granted, Body is his best instrumental. It's got some chords and at least the pitch clap sounds kind of novel, but ultimately it's the same vibe he's gone for every single time. As for the remix, which sent it over the top, well, I saw several people online back in the day who didn't like the Keisha and Becky remix, but at least with that song, all the performances were distinct. Every verse on the song felt fresh and exciting because each performer put in the effort and they sounded unique. I'll try and go through all 9 performances on here, but most of them are just utter blah. Like, what is there to say about E1 or Booney or ZT? Do you know who I think the best verse is on this song?
Vida loca. High as a cat, never sober.
Yeah, I'm not fucking kidding. In all seriousness, I think Russ's verse is by far the best thing that he's ever done. He's clear, he's got intensity, he's charismatic, he's actually pretty fun and even a little funny.
Sorry, your sis got bent over.
What is wrong with me? But yeah, it's all downhill from there.
You seen the state of her body? If I beat it, I ain't wearing a Johnny.
Okay, I know this is a really obvious point that everyone has made, but why do we have to have yet another unthreatening white kid start off the song? It even looks almost identical. I do normally respect Russ's remixes for allowing new artists to come through, but I don't respect this. Not sure if the verse is bad, but he sounds out of breath and his bars are annoyingly white and British. And what I mean by that is that he sounds like a hooligan who lives in the Weatherspoons.
White boy wasted, coke get a whip. I'm an English boy, but I'm so bloody lit.
I really don't know why his verse was the one that got TikTok viral and was probably what sent the song over the top. And shockingly, I'd say he's actually in the better half of the performances.
Don't come too close. Should I take Keisha or should I take Becky? Rusty or Wayne both said I don't know. Big A should be sponsored by Nike. He's got so much tech when he's trying to score goals. Be slapped, I'm in the back seat with a Browning yak with the biggest of backs on the shoulder. Length was the biggest of chat, but live in the flesh didn't see no. Anything you can get money, so gift card, no one in 3 times 3's been blank. You don't wanna get left.
50 G's will pay for your life, get blazed like.
Oh yes, let's not forget the worst Bugsy Malone verse of all time.
English girl named Fiona.
If it wasn't already obvious enough that the verse was filler, then him repeating the main line of the song for no reason should have made it clearer than glass.
Straight Hennessy with no cola.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me. Sorry.
It's ironic because he got wetted for spilling his drink on me.
Get it? Because wetted means stabbed. Yeah, next.
Hold up.
Ah yes, the one American on this. Up-and-coming Brooklyn drill rapper and friend of Pop Smoke 5-Yo Foreign. He has one of the only recognisable verses on this song.
Boom, then I get blamed. I took a perky, I'm out of my brain. I ain't never stepping out of my lane.
It's a good verse because the triplet flow switch up does make him stand out amongst the Brits, but I am going to subtract points for the Loose Man's Not Hot reference in 2021.
TMSCSS, chest shot specialist, wet man chest.
Well, that was the most generic opening to a drill verse I've ever heard.
Touch my watch, man, must be crazy. Had a roll.
Okay, now actually this verse was the only one for the remix that actually surprised me. Darku is a female hip-hop artist who had a minor hit right at the start of 2020, and it was basically just Options by NSG, but incredibly boring. So when I saw her name on the song, I was really unsure of how she would sound, and I'm not entirely sure if it's a good verse, but I still was not expecting her to go as hard as she did. But what I do think is certainly notable is considering Russ's past of homophobic lyrics, It is nice to hear a member of the LGBT community be so open about being bi on this.
She knows me, bitch, she's calling me babe. Swing both ways, so bring your legs. Bend it, shawty wanna make it clap. Bend it, shawty wanna arch her back.
Oh, and also big W for bragging about paying your taxes. That's one of the lyrics of the year.
Pardon, dot blasting, might get blipped while you're
Why does this guy keep jumping up and down and flailing around?
good dick, met gal scream pappy. She holds my wappy, she makes me happy. You know I'm tappy, I chat not cappy, I rub my mouth.
Look, good for us, good for all these people, good for T and Wayne, even though we didn't do anything on this song other than like 2 lines of the chorus. And good for UK rap culture, but almost any other drill song that has broken the top 100 this year would have been a better song to have gone to number 1. And if that tape wasn't hot enough for you, I was actually sold on this song for the first few listens. In fact, I heard it on the radio once and immediately bought it. I really liked the keyboard guitar riff that defined the song the first few times. But after that, I got sick of it pretty quickly, and I have several reasons as to why. I've noticed that it's just a loop that barely changes at all throughout the song. At least Say So had filters over the instrumental which kept the song engaging, but Kiss Me More just loops that one guitar riff the entire time with no real break at all, and its low quality tone feels more and more crummy as the song goes on. But the biggest turn off was just how little the vocals fitted on the song. Doja specifically is so energetic and overjoyed, but the beat is way too low key and slow, and she's quite a jarring fit. At least SZA is a better fit vocally, but her lyrics don't fit at all. It's supposed to be a song about making out with some guy, and she's going on about how he sucks and being with him is garbage. Otherwise, the wordplay here is pretty fun, so I'll give it that, but it grates more and more with each forced radio listen. At least Astronaut in the Ocean is tolerable after more than 30 listens. I guess, or maybe that's just me who thinks that.
I feel like an astronaut in the ocean, ay.
Masked Wolf, savior of hip hop.
When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze.
Masked Wolf, lyrical genius.
She say that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Masked Wolf, sent from the gods to end the mumble rappers.
Can you please read between the lines? My rhymes inclined to break your spine. They say that I'm so fine.
Masked Wolf, bringing back true taste and meaning to rap music.
I believe in G-O-D, don't believe in T-H-O-T.
From what I've seen across the internet, Astronaut in the Ocean is the most hated hit of the year. Not in this little corner of music criticism, but just generally across the internet. I mean, can you name me any other big hits this year where the most liked comments on its YouTube page are about how it sucks? Even the Genius page is filled with comments about how ass the lyrics are.
Everything that I say, man, I seen you deflate.
I would feel bad for him considering he's a new artist, so he's an easier target. And it's not like he's directly targeting these other rappers. But then you remember that he got over 1 million YouTube subs thanks to this song alone, and that the lyricism really is that bad.
Have you walking on a plane?
It's also not easy to like an honest narrative about mental struggles when he's so gleeful about playing with people's minds and wanting to kill everything. Get off the 360, mate. I will definitely give him his vocal abilities though. The flows and the gruff, powerful tone throughout the song do sound genuinely great. I'll stick up for that. I'm starting to get pretty good at predicting when songs like this will be big, where the hooks are just that good and catchy. Although I guess not really, because if that was the case, then Way Too Long would have been in the top 20 by now, because that song's catchy as sin. Guess I'll have to accept that I'm not that good at predicting things. I mean, imagine telling my 2019 self that in 2 years Little Mix would have 2 songs in the top 20 at once.
From the sky drop like confetti. All eyes on me.
So, this is the first Little Mix release without Jessie on it. She was on the original version, but they've removed her parts and re-recorded them with the remaining members. They've also cleared up the production to make it sound more finished. It's a surprisingly good effort from the production group TMS, who are responsible for some of the worst sounding UK radio hits from the past 12 years. Unfortunately, the lyrics are just way too typical. Pretty much every year we get a new Little Mix song about going to the club where they complain about some guy they've split up with. I know they're a pop group, so you wouldn't expect much lyrically from them, but considering that they have a 10-year career, this lack of creativity is pissing me off. But I will give them this. This is the best music video ever.
Show me! Hook me up! Come on, man! Do you mind? Alright, sorry. Jesus.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this? This is insane. Yeah, that was fun. Now, let's get to the worst rap verse of the year. Well, okay, that's probably an exaggeration, but on a slightly different note, I consider myself very strong-stomached, and I know my over-exaggerated actions in the past may suggest otherwise, but you know, that's just an act. But if there was going to be a song on the charts with a set of lyrics that would make me actually feel sick, it would be from a drill song. Not a song by Little Mix, whose fans have a median age of 8. I guess they've been trying to shred the child-friendly image over the last couple of years, but they're still mostly kid-approved. So when the low-quality recording of Saweetie comes in and she says this.
My girl hit me up about a fuckboy dude. I said, hold on, what he say he did to you? Caught him sending dick pics and a couple of nudes. Shit, we could chop it off and I'ma bob it and stew.
Okay, right. So, the cut-off dick part. Okay, yeah, whatever. Like, that's one thing. That's just a joke to make her friend feel better. But put it in. She's gonna put it in. No, I can't fucking think. She's literally gonna eat his dick. That's just such a weird, gross cannibalism joke. Hide your willies, boys. You don't want Saweetie to eat them. It's just gross. It's just fucking gross. Presumably she was roped in for a potential crossover into America or into the international market, but it didn't work. The song from 4 years ago was number 1 on the global Spotify Top 100, but this didn't get anywhere near that success. I struggled hard to rank this because it sounds just like the Live Lounge covers that Radio 1 do. And okay, yes, it is actually a cover of a cover. Assuming my viewers are mostly European, which they aren't, you'll remember the Madcon version of this song, a big radio hit from 2008 that still gets radio play today, which in itself is a cover of a 60s song by 4 Seasons. Both those songs are good because they've got quite a bit of grit to their production and sound and are defined by some pretty cool musical moments. They're also both a little better than the Maneskin cover because, for one, you can't hear the awesome bass line on this cover. And that's what makes the other versions so cool. And secondly, I find our guy, he's very odd sounding.
I'm begging you to put your loving hand out, baby.
It is a little weird to me seeing that this guy's getting praised by almost the same people who dislike Tom Grennan, when they're essentially just two sides of the same coin. It's just that this is the Italian side with a little sprinkle of Bryan Adams on it.
I'm begging.
But I do like the Live Lounge covers, and this is still pretty good. I do think some of the parts of the song, like the call and response to the instrumental hits with the vocals, were good, if a little predictable, but I do actively like the solemn instrumental sections. They work really well. And regardless of its quality, I do think it's amazing that a rock group has managed to be this successful in this day and age, so good on Maneskin. But it's not the best reworking in this top 20. That will have to go to...
I saw you dancing in a crowded room.
Now, considering that I don't like Save Your Tears, I don't like these kind of lazy remixes, and I don't really like mass over-promotion of the same song for a long period of time, which has very much been the case for this. This shouldn't work, but it strangely does for me. And it doesn't actually change that much about the original, but the little things that it does change just make the song so much better for me. Ariana hasn't sounded this good on a song since forever. She actually sounds really sexy on this. Much sexier than on the actual sex track she made. There's just something so comfortable and also engaging about a vocal tone that works with the beat much better than The Weeknd's. It is still pretty boring for the first minute, but thankfully you only have to wait 3/4 of the time before the chorus actually hits. So the little improvements Ariana makes are mostly around the different melodies, like the harmonizations on the end of each of those annoying conclusive melodies, which makes them feel a lot less conclusive and therefore less annoying.
I kept my distance 'cause I know that you.
Also, great decision to have her humming over the naked, cheesy-ass synth lick. So I guess the melody wasn't so much the problem, but the synth was. But what is funny though is that you would expect her to maybe make the lyrics work and like offer the other perspective in the song's storyline, but she doesn't really do that. I guess she kind of does, but on the whole she does make the lyrics a little worse. Like, yeah, I guess it can work as a mutually sad couple, but the lyrics definitely don't fill the full potential of the male/female hetero narrative.
Don't like when I'm with nobody else.
You know, pop music has completely killed the impact of the double negative to the point that I have no idea what she actually meant by that. Does he not like it? Do you not like it when they're with nobody else? Does that mean just that nobody else? Anybody else? Do you mean anybody else there? Or do you not like it when he/she is lonely? What's going on? But the vocal chemistry from both these guys has always been perfect, really. I love every collab they've ever done, because when they sing together, they just always sound beautiful. We are now in the added to the playlist territory here, which means that I, rather embarrassingly I guess, do have this next song on the playlist, despite the fact that it's by that annoying white Brit again.
I just wanted some more, what of a twist? Think I didn't take risks to get to this sitch, don't take the piss.
Yeah, this is a much more solid drill beat than Bodies. I get if the violin sample is a bit much, but it's a nice break from the standard interchangeable, dark, murky UK drill sound. Pretty solid, well constructed beat. And Olly's flow is pretty catchy. UK hip hop has never been great at producing catchy, memorable choruses, but that, I just want some more, another twist, really works for a hook. But unfortunately, the attitude drags the song down. I could at least give a little bit of leeway to some of the real lines here, but his broy persona gets quite obnoxious.
I admit I did what I did, but I deserve this.
In what way? Like, what makes you stand out from all the other underground rappers trying to make scraps for a living? Beyond just being a white 18-year-old from the south, there isn't much to say about Olly's persona than that. At least H sounded different. One of this guy's biggest songs before this was literally called Cheeky... I'm not finishing that. Don't remind me of being 14, RD. Can't go back there. All the kids wanting a cheeky Nando's with the lads.
Everyone love Kiki Trappy.
Also, for someone who acts like he's made it, his life doesn't seem admirable at all. Ex problems, very bad alcohol problems. There are a lot more people I'd rather be/associate with. You know, maybe that Build a Bitch song wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Maybe boys really are shit. But yeah, good song with a solid instrumental from an 18-year-old kid. That would have been better if it wasn't for the attitude. Now here's the female version of that. Olivia making driver's license so personal kinda shot her in the foot, because now we all know exactly who she's talking about with all these songs, and that just feels weird. I had zero interest in the love life of her and Joshua, yet I kinda have to think about it anytime I look at the charts, and that makes me feel kinda icky. But I did like Sour, mostly. We did already have a very good album about a breakup last year, so its main idea didn't feel fresh at all, bar the tracks on there that weren't actually about the breakup. The problem for me was that the 4 songs that start off the record are all really good with likeable narratives, but then it hits Deja Vu, which I'm happy I missed talking about because I've grown to really dislike it. It's probably the worst song on the album. And the next 3 tracks are all painfully petty. And I can relate to being a broken-hearted piece of fucking shit, but Olivia puts that feeling on steroids to the point where any self-awareness is negligible.
It's a therapist I found for you, she really helped. Now you can be a better man. You will never have to hurt the way you know that I do. Maybe I'm too emotional. Your apathy is like a wound inside.
Your subtleties, they strangle me.
Not much of a difference there, isn't there?
Maybe you never cared at all.
Yeah, he never cared because he moved on. Oh, come on, this is stupid.
Good for you, you're doing great out there without me, baby. Like a damn sociopath.
Oh god, the cringe. At least the song sounds very good. We should keep the attitude of the MySpace era in the past, but I'm happy bringing the sound back. We haven't had a song rock this hard at the top of the charts for forever, but what really makes this is the contrast between the bright, shiny headbanger of a chorus with the more solemn, fat bass in the verses.
Good for you, I guess you're getting everything you want. You bought a new car and
I think Olivia is a fantastic performer. If it wasn't for those, it would have been a 10 for the vocals. One of the better number ones this year, and that's saying a lot because there hasn't been a single bad one yet. Just wish she didn't make the lyrics so cringy. The other song of hers in the top 20 isn't as cringe though.
You betrayed me, and I know that you'll never feel sorry.
I think this song's sentiment is much better. It's petty in a way that's a lot more forgiving and less annoying. It's about how her ex was talking to his new girl whilst they were still together, and those nagging thoughts of cheating that were in the back of her mind ended up coming more to the forefront after Olivia and him broke up, and then he and this new girl started dating. And if it wasn't for that one line about how Josh gave Olivia his word, which was pretty laughable, it seems like a pretty novel idea for the mainstream, and I do respect the emotionality of it. There's just one slight problem though, which is that Traitor is basically just Heather.
You betrayed me, and I know that you'll never feel sorry. Why would you ever kiss me? I'm not.
It sounds a lot better. Olivia's choir harmonies sound much nicer than anything in that song. And she's a much better singer than Grey, but it's still got the same guitar rhythm to it, and I'm pretty sure that's the same low frequency snare hit, just pushed more to the front of the mix. So yeah, it's a pretty original idea for the mainstream lyrically, but not sonically. God, so many of these breakup songs are just like... it's just bitter as hell. I mean, can we not have something a bit more upbeat in this vein?
Just when I think you're gone, hear a song on the radio.
Yeah, that's a bit more like it. So the last 4 songs all scored the exact same for me, and I put this one at the bottom of the 4 because it's not really doing anything particularly unique. It's just a really good modern pop song. Another surprisingly solid effort from TMS. Congrats on them for making 2 songs in this top 20 that don't sound boring and lifeless as their usual crap. Compared to all the other breakup songs, which are either desperately sad or filled with spite and sarcasm, it's nice to hear one that's reflective and is at a stage where the partners are clearly happy it happened.
Just when I think you're gone, hear a song on the radio. Just like that takes me back to the places we used to go. And I've been trying, but I just can't fight it. When I hear it, I just can't stop smiling. I remember you're gone, baby. It's just a song on the radio that we used to know.
Very cute little sentiment, yeah. Although yes, it is another one of these UK hit songs about songs. It's also sung by Neil Horan, who I just don't care about at all. Like, I think it would have been better if it was just Anne-Marie, but it's still a surprisingly great song. But somehow it wasn't the biggest surprise in this top 20, because I couldn't believe the next one when I heard it for the first time.
The kind that cuts you up inside my blood was your love. We had.
Yeah, the new Mimi Webb song is really good. I went into this thinking it would be another colourless X Factor type song with bad singing, and I was shocked to find that it was a Maverick Sabre-esque R&B ballad that suited Mimi's voice way better than it should have. That bit where she reaches for the high note is just one of my favourite musical moments of the year.
You jump in, I'm jumping. Crazy kind of something that.
And I do kind of wish she wrote better, less repetitive lyrics, but her tone just made them more impactful, I think. This just sounds so strangely out of place on the UK charts, and I really like it. It's wistful, it's raw. Good shit, Webb. More of this, and less of that. Oh, speaking of raw.
Grey lines on the shirt. Brutal colonisers.
So most of the recording for this video was done back at the very start of July, back when the Euros were going on and England actually had a chance, so I of course need to re-record this whole segment. It's not actually in the top 20 this week of ranking, it was actually only at number 34, but this is due to songs older than 3 years being permanently put on ACR, a rule I like to ignore in these rankings unless we're talking about Christmas songs. If it was on standard ratio, it would have been number 11 this week. I do wonder if I should stop overcomplicating things with which rules I pay attention to and which I ignore for these rankings and just rank the list to top 20, even if I strongly believe some aspects of ACR and the 3 song per artist rule are flawed. But I already wrote this video's entire script and I don't want to have to change it that much. So if you really care enough about my opinions on either favourite crime or higher power, then here you go. Of course, any celebration of England doing better in any major football competition since the 60s immediately got thwarted by all the ugly racism directed at the 3 players who missed the penalty, being that the only England players that scored were the white ones. Seriously, fuck football fans, especially English football fans. Just because they might not be the Russians doesn't mean that they don't fucking suck. Oh, and let's not act like social media especially don't need to do more about this. Oh, and I guess Ian Duncan Smith's satirical cover of this song where he poked fun at those that booed taking the knee over Marxism was more true than I wanted to admit. You know, I actually dislike most of the classic football songs, but even if I was probably too praising of it in the past, I do really like Three Lines. I think the melodies are great, the song sounds good, and the dumb hope is pretty charming. Not quite as entertaining as Atomic Kitten being aroused by Gareth Southgate, but it's certainly more deserving of its success than Vindaloo. Well, as always next year at least. Anyway, if you couldn't tell by now, my number one is Montero.
I caught it bad just today. You hit me with a call to your place. Ain't been out in no.
It took me a bit of time to fully like this song, but Montero by Lil Nas X is, either way, it's just the song of the year. This actually feels like something really big and revolutionary, unlike any song that has charted this year. I mean, we've never had a number one about gay sex in the UK. Oh yeah, except for that minor little sixth biggest hit of all time. But it's a little different for a gay 80s synth pop group to do this, and it is for a black man who came from one of the most famously homophobic genres out there. Although this definitely isn't hip hop. Sonically, Montero reminded me of like the Illuminate, Shawn Mendes era, but the difference is that the guitars have some actual colour behind them.
I wanna sell what you're buying. I wanna feel on your.
Sadly, the very shrill tambourine and clapping don't, and that's why this song could definitely be better, and it did take quite a bit of a while for it to actually grow on me, but it's still such an impactful banger. I mean, hook after hook, I love how the beat smacks into every section and how strong the melodies are. It's also got a pretty engaging narrative too, regardless of sexuality. Secret hookup jams are just engaging no matter who sings them, and it really works with the song's minor and mysterious tone.
If you've been in your garden, you know that you can call me when you want.
That is unironically the best lyric of the year. I remember I questioned before whether Lil Nas actually had talent, and now I just don't care. Because what he's doing, regardless of his talent or whatever, is just completely unlike any other mainstream artist right now. There is genuinely no other more exciting artist who's releasing music right now than Lil Nas X, and I can't wait to his next album, because the follow-up to this, Sun Goes Down, is even better. God fucking speed. So that's the video, 54%, so that's a pretty good week. And now with the American ranking, I'll hand you off to Nav 2.0.
Honestly, the only reason this so-called joke exists is I get bored of talking and hearing the sound of my own voice. No hip-hop song has made me feel more embarrassed to be white. This sounds like it's trying to be both a joke and kinda serious at the same time, and all that does is make it even more annoying than it already was. Dodger sounds like a mum. I refuse to believe Sabrina Carpenter has been on this earth for 22 years and has only just heard Billy Joel's Uptown Girl. If Olivia was my ex, I would be thinking about filing a restraining order. Imagine if there was an alternative reality where S Club 7 never broke up and had a 20-year-long career that caused everyone to be as sick of them as we all are of Adam Levine. This is what that reality would sound like. Sometimes that glassy clave at the back of the mix is all I can focus on when I hear this song, and it really grates. This song perfectly sums up the sound of the rainy, miserable English summer. Damn. Look at that astronaut in the ocean. Still not on board with this polo shirt guy. I do at least like the random spurts of intensity from his vocals on this, but for most of the song he's pretty sleep-inducing. Oh my bloody god. I know I'm probably less well versed on country than most of you, but are you all seriously losing your shit over this? You can't be serious. I get if you think it's a little annoying, but you lot sound no fun lol. Totally get the hate cause it sounds like it's trying to be every trend at once, but Laroe can really find a catchy, nice sounding hook. He just needs to find another topic to sing about. This really is a bizarre hit. As fucking awful as I Wanna Be Your Slave is, I get why it would have taken off, but this? It feels surreal. Thank God. After 3 consecutive awful hits, I think I'm okay with Meg the again. I'm never taking any future Billboard Hot 100 charts seriously ever again. I really should hate this beat considering how much I dislike beats this slow. But sorry, I do like this quite a bit. Not even completely sure why. It just works for me. Original of this is still boring as shit. Hopefully Normani makes more stuff like this than that terrible motivation track. Damn, I need to pipe down with these takes. Yeah, so there's not as many amazing songs on this chart as last time. This man is the decade's Lady Goo Goo Gaga. I can't wait to see his career further unroll.
Thank bloody god that video took me a whole fucking month to make. Coming up soon, I'll have the 1000 sub special, which is going to be a ranking of the biggest songs of all time in the UK, which I'm looking forward to make for about a year now. Might have something pretty small before that. So until then, I'll see you around. Make sure you like, subscribe and comment, and other Mo reviews.
You got a higher power, got me singing every second, dancing every hour. Oh yeah, you got a higher power, and you're really someone I wanna know.